Okay, so stream should be up, I believe. Hopefully with audio and everything working fine. Right. Okay. Back again with day 10 of Advent of Code. Someone in the Discord chat. So the Discord, I think it was a NIM off topic on Discord. Said I looked like the bearded man emoji. And honestly, not sure if I see it. Do I look like that? I don't know. So yeah, enough of that nonsense. They also had some options. So if you, I guess, post your favorite bearded guy emoji in the chat. Yeah. Anyways, let's get to coding, or to advent of coding. Right. So yeah, day 9, as I said, we seem to be heading into the cave, and it goes deeper and deeper down here. So we weren't exiting through this. I thought this would be a hole, but apparently it's not. So we're heading deeper down into this cave. It's really cool how this ASCII art sort of gets drawn as the days progress. It's really neat. So let's go. Let's look at day 10. Ooh. You asked the submarine to determine the best route out of the deep sea cave, but it only replies, syntax error in navigation subsystem online, all of them. Ouch. That is a rough error to get. All of them? The damage is worse than you thought. Wait, damage? Oh, from the... Wait, what? From the whale encounter? Or from the smoke basin thing? Huh. Yeah, damage is worse than we thought. You bring up a copy of the navigation subsystem, which is our puzzle input. And the navigation subsystem syntax is made of several lines containing chunks. Okay? There are one or more chunks on each line, and chunks contain 0 or more other chunks. Right. Okay. Adjacent chunks are not separated by any delimiter. If one chunk stops, the next chunk, if any, can immediately start. Every chunk must open and close with one of 4 legal pairs of matching characters. So if a chunk opens with parentheses, it must close with parentheses. If chunk opens with square brackets, it must close with square brackets. If chunk opens with curly brackets or curly braces, it must close with curly braces. And if a chunk opens with angle brackets, it must close with angle brackets. So double parenthesis like this is a legal chunk that contains no other chunks, as is this one. More complex but valid chunks include this, and this, and this, and this, and even this. Right. Some lines are incomplete, but others are corrupted. Find and discard the corrupted lines first. A corrupted line is one where a chunk closes with a wrong character. That is, where the characters it opens and closes with do not form one of the 4 legal pairs listed above. Examples of corrupted chunks include this, and this, and this, and this. Right, because this one closes with a bad chunk. Such a chunk can appear anywhere within a line, and its presence causes the whole line to be considered corrupted. For example, consider the following navigation subsystem. So, a bunch of this one is obviously corrupt because it's... Oh wait, maybe it's not. Well, yeah. This one has to be corrupt because this one never ends. So like this is a valid chunk. This is a valid chunk. So is this. So is this. But this is not a valid chunk. Or I guess like it could end there. But that would make this invalid. So the lines aren't corrupted, just incomplete. You can ignore these lines for now. The remaining 5 lines are corrupted. Oh, wait. So this is just incomplete. Okay. So this one expected this, but found this instead. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one. So this closes that. This, yeah, so this one never closes. So this is a valid one, this is a valid one, but this character should have been one of these characters. Right. Yeah, I'm not gonna look more at those right now. Stop with the first incorrect closing character on each corrupted line. Did you know that syntax checkers actually have contests to see who can get the high score for syntax errors in a file? Wait, what? It's true. To calculate the syntax error score for a line, take the first illegal character on the line and look it up in the following table. Okay. In the above example, an illegal bracket was found twice. That's 2 times 3 is 6 points. Illegal one of these found once. This was found once, and this was found once. So that is, all right, yeah, that's that score. So the total syntax error score for this file is this number. Find the first illegal character in each corrupted line of the navigation. Nej, där låter. What is the total syntax error score for those lines? We need a new feature in the name compiler. I want to know the syntax error score. Yeah. I mean, we don't really use a lot of braces and stuff in them, so I'm not sure if I've ever seen like a... Well, I have seen expected something but found something else. But they're pretty rare, just due to how the syntax works. Right. So we can grab our puzzle input, which of course is more complex than the example. Store that in our date 10 folder that I created before I started. Oops. We also want to grab this thing and store it in a separate file that we're just gonna call input example. Oops, example.txt. I like to call these .txt. I'm not sure why, because that doesn't really, like, it doesn't give me anything. But I like to call them like that. So, how are we gonna do this? We could do this with recursion, like I showed in the last episode. So this could be a function call to parse a chunk. That would trigger a new function call here, a new function call, a new function call, a new function call, a new function call here. This would then call a function to match this, and it matches this, so it returns. This one then matches this, so it returns. This one now continues, starts matching this, which is a procedure which matches this, which returns, and that matches this, so that returns. So this goes on and tries to match this, and that tries to match this, this, and that tries to match this, and that tries to match this, which pretty much immediately returns. So this continues, this tries to match this tries to match this, that tries to match this, which immediately returns. So this continues, that tries to match this, that tries to match this. Again, return, this one returns, this one is now out of characters, so it's incomplete. But it's not corrupted. Not yet. So, let me create 2 sets. So, do I want to create them as sets? I find it too lazy to do those AoC challenges myself, but if you're watching someone else do them, might teach me some NIM. Oh, right, yeah. I mean, these kinds of problems are pretty good for learning like NIM syntax and stuff. Of course, when you come into a problem like this, you are going to try to solve it sort of the way you know how. And NIM does stuff in quite a lot of different ways. Like every year when we get AoC and we get other like competitions like this, we have a lot of people coming into the NIM channel and being like, oh, how can I do X in NIM? And a lot of us like, that's not how we do it in NIM. I mean, for the most stuff, you can do it just fine, but it seems to be a sort of an uptick in people asking to do X thing that they're used to from language Y in NIM every year this AoC comes around. But it is a good way to learn NIM. Personally, I really like this site, learn X in Y minutes, for learning new languages. This is actually how I started out learning NIM. I haven't looked at this in a very long time, so it might be super outdated. But basically, this just goes through a small program with comments on how to do stuff. Just shows you like a little like peek into like, this is how we do stuff in language X, which I think is really helpful when you look into a new language. Exactly. I assume you are experienced in NIM, and probably your solutions are more NIMy compared to how I would solve them. Yeah, that is probably the case. But it's a good idea maybe to try them yourself and then watch me or someone else do them. I don't know. But you're welcome to watch anyways. It's always nice to have more people here. And I try to make these sort of as NIMy as possible. Or wait, what was the word? We came up with a word at some point for like so Python has like Pythonic, which is the sort of the Python way of doing something. And I think we landed on like Royale, like from what's it called? From Pulp Fiction, a Royale with cheese. Because NIM has a crown as a logo and it's named after a king and everything. So yeah, let's get to coding this. So basically, we need to get like open. We need to match these. So we need to have an open and a close. So I guess we could do. We actually don't need to define them there. Let's do a procedure that does match bracket, takes in a position and returns a position, right? that it takes in a position in the string and it returns sort of the point it got to. So then, of course, we also need the string here. So let me do data, just read in the file. Oh, but we want to do this on a line by line basis. I mean, we could define all of this inside of a loop. That would technically make it a closure, which isn't great. Okay, so let's just take in a string here, which is our data. So we start to look at data.position, data at the position. So this should always be a bracket. So when we first come in, we're going to see this bracket. So we can do a case on this. Of course, we want to first check if data, if position is larger than data.high. So if the position we want to look at is higher than, so if it's outside the bounds of the function, that means that we have to discard this line. And that actually, we need to then sort of get error out this whole line. So I think this is a good point to show exceptions in them. So we can have an incomplete line error, which is just a object of defect, I believe. And then an invalid line error, which is also an object of defect. So this should raise a new exception, incomplete line error. Now this, so if it's outside, we just raise a new exception. We could throw in a message here, but I don't believe that we need to. Maybe we do. It will complain soon enough if we don't. So let's start with this. If it's one of these, so we're going to let our end character be equal to something dependent on this case. So we're going to case on our first character. That's going to determine our last character. Of this, that's going to be one of these. And then of this, that's going to be one of these. And, right, angle brackets. That's going to be one of these. If it's anything else than one of these, that means we have gotten into a situation where we call match bracket, but the data at this position is not one of these characters, which for our input set means it's one of these characters, right? So that means that we have found the start or the end of something while we were expecting the start of something. And that, unless it's the first character, which I don't think it will ever be in our data set, means that, so for example, in here, I start here, I try to call match on the next line, and that is not valid because this is not a new chunk, right? If I do this and call match on this character, it's going to see that this is the opening bracket, and that's fine. Oh, you know what? Yeah, no, that is not the case we're looking for. we're looking for this case. So we have parsed one. We want to parse the next one. So we want to call next bracket on the next thing. But this is an end character. So we want to return this position. Do we? I think we do. Return our position, I believe. Okay. So if you get in and we don't find anything, then we just return the position that we got. Otherwise, we're gonna do actually we're gonna say we're gonna shadow this pos from here so that we can modify it without modifying the original. Now we can say increment position by 1, and then while data at position is not equal to our end character, we want to call match bracket on the data at the position, and we want to set our position to be equal to whatever this returns. And when it is our end character, we want to return the current position. And yeah, so when this is false, that means that the data at the current position is our end character. So I guess we can increment by 1 before we return. Right. So this, of course, also need to right, position there, and then I think that might be good, but this is going to be 1 higher before we get to calling that. So basically, if we try to call match bracket, we're just gonna try with some known good examples first. So this one, for example, which is a pretty complex one. Start at position 0. So let's see. So this does need an error message. Reached end of line before termination, or something like that. There we go. That gave us 18. Wait, what is the length of let's just do this real quick. Give me the length of that line. Yeah. So it got to the end of the line and everything was good. That was correct. Which is great. Now let's try to introduce an error. So this should hopefully now throw an incomplete line error because the line is incomplete. But yeah, this is what I thought we would get. Unhandled exception, index 17, not in 0 to 16, index defect at line 24, which is going to be, wait, 24? Oh, right, 24 is this call. 18 is where the error actually happened. 18 in match bracket. Okay, that error is a bit weird. I believe it's here that the error occurs. While so we need to do this, and we need to do while position is smaller than data.length. So if position is higher than the highest index, it breaks out of this loop, and then it checks if it's higher than that highest index. It reaches this incomplete line error. Right, so that's good. But I kind of wanted to have this in here. But that means it needs to be able to call this. And I'm not sure if we could do this because it needs to do this check. We could actually do this. This would mean that the position has to be equal to data.length, or the position, or I guess we could say just higher than data.high. So if the position that we want to look at is higher than data.high, we call this procedure, and that immediately triggers this error. If it's not higher, then we check if it's the end character, and if it's not, we call this. Oops. I missed my escape key there. So this should do the same thing. Yes, good. Reach end of line before termination. Great. If we now terminate that line properly, this should still work. Great. And now we want to introduce the other kind of error, which is mismatching these parentheses or these brackets. So what happens now? Ooh, it loops infinitely, it appears. Right, because this just returns the position. So this just returns the same position it was given, and this goes in an infinite loop, right? And this is not actually required for the functioning of our program. So here we can raise our exception invalid line error. Found bracket I guess we can do this data pause wait. Right, found bracket this, but here we don't know what we're expecting. But do we actually need to know that? We need to know, yeah, the first illegal character on the line. So we only need to know the illegal characters. We don't actually need to know what it was expected to be. Interesting. So we could actually just do score up here and then do a simple, okay, I'm gonna do something neat here. But, well, maybe not that neat. It is a bit dirty to just have it set the score from inside of here. Since we're raising these exceptions, I kind of want to do it in the exception handler. And this allows me to show off how you do objects or how you do exceptions properly. So incomplete line, that is fine. invalid line, here we want to store the invalid character, which is a character, and then found unexpected bracket, and then so here we actually want to create this exception type. So var e is a new exception, e dot invalid character is equal to the data pos character, and then we want to raise this e, right? Of course, we could create a procedure for this. So we can do proc new invalid line error, which takes a message, which is a string, and an invalid character, which is a character, and returns an invalid line error. Now the result is already an invalid line error, but I don't think that is valid actually. New exception of invalid line error with the message, and then result dot invalid character is equal to the invalid character, and that should return it. I think this actually should just be a defect. Not 100% sure. New invalid line error with the message found unexpected bracket. Of course, this message could be in the definition, but that's generally not how you do these. Right, got ref invalid line error. So that tells us what this needs to be. Ref invalid line error. There we go. Yeah, so this should now raise found unexpected bracket, invalid line error, which is great. And now we can do down here, we can do, so for line in input example.txt.lines, we can do this, and then we can do a try statement, and in this try statement we can well, I guess, I mean, if match bracket returns without an error, then that means that it's valid. So we can actually just discard this. It should match the length of the line. So I mean, we could also have an assert here that this is equal to line.length, but it doesn't really matter all that much. And now we can accept an incomplete line error. And we actually don't have to handle those in any particular way. But if we didn't have an accept statement for them, they would propagate their error up and crash our program. So now we have an invalid line error down here. We want to actually catch that. I don't really do exceptions in them a lot. I think we might. I mean, that is kind of the syntax, but I can never remember. I started using nim before we got syntax sugar for these. So I'm still a little bit stuck in the old way of doing it. Yeah, so we can accept them like this, but I want to get their value. know there was a way of doing this. Wait, what is this? Oh, this is just tutorial 2. Right. I thought there was a way of getting these. Consume, blah, blah, blah. If you need access to the actual exception. Oh, right. Oh, okay, we actually have to use this. Okay, that's fine. There. So then our exception is equal to just get the current exception. This is a bit verbose. I thought we had some syntax trigger for this so that we could do like AoC or something, but apparently we don't. Or maybe we do, that just that the tutorial isn't updated. Oh yeah, we actually have AoC. I thought we had some sugar for it. We should really add that to the tutorial. Right. So here we need to do the scoring. So we do another case statement on e.invalid character. So that is the field that we set in the exception. And this is set to the end bracket that we got that we didn't expect. This should, of course, then be this. And we want to keep a score of 0 at the beginning. And then we can actually do score plus equals, and then this case statement. If we have one of these, it's a 3. If we have one of, yeah, so just copy this into here. So that is 57 points. Then do this. Oops, that was not what I wanted to do. So do that. Off. And then word. Delete the rest of the line. And then we can just replay that recording. I don't think we actually need an else statement anymore. I saw somewhere. Apparently we do need one. Else just return a 0. Doesn't really matter. Like, we're never going to get anything else. Oh, wait. There we go. Do we actually need this then? Yes, we do. Because otherwise it isn't a complete statement, so it can't return these values. And then it complains that, ooh, I don't know what to do with these. So there. Now we can echo out our score. So this should hopefully give us, right, we have a line that is not equal to our line length. That is interesting. Just echo out line dot length and just echo out this. I just want to see what's going on there. Huh. Is this the correct answer though? 26397. No, it's too high. Okay. So, interesting. When we get these errors, I want to echo out the current line that brought this error. I want to check if these are the actual lines. Yeah, so this is the set of errors that we should detect. So this one is equal to that one. This one is equal to this one. This one is equal to this one. This one is this one, and this one is this one. So those are correct. Interesting. And these are correct. That means our invalid characters aren't correct. So what is that all about? Right, expected, but found this. Expected, but found this. Expected, but found this. Oh, so, wait. This was found twice. So we have this one and this one. One of these was found once, which is this one. And then one of these and one of these. Should have two of these. So there's one there and one there. And no more. Should have one of these. That's correct. One of these. Which is correct. And one of these. What on earth is going on? Oh, I was looking at the wrong number. All right, I was looking at this number. Yeah, so it is correct. Good. Okay. This is a bit weird. So stop echoing that out. Does this ever trigger? Yes, that triggers a couple of times. It triggers for this, which we saw was incomplete earlier. But this one doesn't trigger it. Interesting. Wait, is that assertion? Run? Wait. So I'm just gonna echo these out at the end so that we actually always get a pair. Like the previous list, it listed out the length and then it would trigger the exception and return before that managed to happen. Right, so we have this pair here and this pair here, which is not correct. But those are the only OK lines. That is weird. Okay, so echo out this line as well here. So these are listed, these are detected as our algorithm as not having any errors. But of course we know from this that all of them should have errors. We don't need this for part 1. But it annoys me that this doesn't work. So it finds this, and it should error out, right? So it gets in, it sees that it sets the position. It's not higher than this. It goes looking for an end character. It finds this end character. Then it increments the position by 1. That means that position is now higher than data.high. So it runs this. And that calls match bracket with the new position, which is higher, which would come in here and say that position is higher and throw this exception. Oh, wait. Should this not increment? No, that would error out everything. Yeah. But it seems to, because now it didn't happen. So it seems that this should only increment once if some case holds true. Right, so if maybe this, if not, is that what we're doing wrong? No. Well, I mean, it didn't trigger the error, but now this is way higher. Because this, if the data is smaller and it's not our end character, if it is our end character, wait, if position is smaller than data.high, and this data is not our end character, that means it's a start character, or an invalid end character. So we call this, if it's a new start character, it should come down here. I'm just gonna debug this the old-fashioned way. Calling match bracket with data and position. So what is leading to this error here? So it calls this with this at 0, then it goes to 1, then it goes 2, then it goes, yeah, so 2 reads 0, 1, 2, reads this and returns this position. That goes to there, which should also read this. And now it just returns 5. No, I mean, it returns 10, but it goes from this 5 up to a 10, and then it just stops. It shouldn't be able to increment more than once during a run. What on earth is going on here? Zero, 1, 2, 3. And then it's all of a sudden 8. So if it's calling, let's go through this manually. If it's calling this string with an index of 3, wait, yeah, if it's calling this string with an index of 3, it somehow manages to return 8. So it comes in here with this string. Position is not higher than the length of the string because it's 3. It goes looking for an end character. So 0, 1, 2, 3. It's right here. It finds this. That means this is its end character. So we're down to here. Now position is increased to 4. This position. While position is larger than data.high, that is false, so it triggers this check. And the data at position is not our end character, but it is our end character. So this loop doesn't run. We come down to here. Position increased by 1. Now we're at this character. Oh, wait, right. Because this, so it ends there. But if we read our rules, lines should be our line. Wait. The navigation subsystem syntax made of several lines containing chunks. There are one or more chunks on each line. Yeah, there are one or more chunks on each line. So it just completed the first chunk and then it returned. That was our error here. So we should actually, in here, we should do set position to 0, and then while position is not equal to line.length, set the position to be this. So this runs until it's at the end of the line. There we go. So now this one is correct, and none of these should be called. So we can now assert that position is equal to line.length, and that should hold true, and it does. Good. Okay. Now it makes sense. That might have actually triggered an error for us in the real data set. So it's good that we caught that error. First time chat from new viewer. Can't remember if I've asked before or not, but have you thought about using software and game development category instead? Twitch sees you as a first time chat from a viewer, so I guess you haven't asked before. No, I haven't. I haven't thought of it because I didn't know that was a category. That is definitely a better category. Software and game development. I think the first time I streamed, that might not have been a category. So I'd stream games very rarely, so I don't think I have changed it back and forth. So it was just me not setting up my stream properly. But I fixed it now, I think. Now it should be correct. Yep, no chats on YouTube. Actually quite a few people here. 7 people today. So yeah, I tried to stream these every day of Advent. I'm gonna have to stop around like the 15th, 16th this year. Simply because I'm not going to be home for Christmas. So yeah, I run this on our actual input.txt. And I got out this number. We're just pasting it into the web page here. Yeah, so if you wanna watch more of these, then you should subscribe on Twitch or on YouTube, and you will get notifications when I start streaming. Cold Blue says it's not just for games. There's some nice stats if you're interested in the diff between the two. Nice stats on comparing the two with trending. Ooh. I am going to open that link in a background window, and I'm gonna have a look at them when I'm done streaming. I mean, my goal here isn't really... Well, I guess it is to reach as many people as possible. I mostly just want to challenge myself with some NIM programming, and I also want to show you guys how to program some NIM. X message asks, are you going to finish 15 to 25 offline and put up videos? Learning them and find these videos super useful. Oh, thank you. That would have to be when I come back after Christmas. Probably like after New Year's is when I'm gonna be sort of back here with my streaming setup. I'm probably gonna bring a laptop on vacation, or I have to, because I have to do some work down there as well. But I'm not gonna be streaming on the laptop because the webcam is crappy. I'm not gonna bring this microphone with me. So when I'm back to this streaming setup, I could definitely record more of them, but that would have to wait until after Christmas. Maybe I do. If more people want to see these, I could definitely do more of them after Christmas. If not, I'm probably just going to stream something else, like microcontroller development and stuff. I have a dog here that wants to come up. So I'm watching my mom's dog, and she gets lonely when she's just lying on the couch for too long, and she wants to come up and cuddle. And she's just licking my hand. But I think this impacts audio quality, so I'm gonna put her down, or not put her down, that sounds bad. I'm gonna put her back on the couch. I just put her on top of the couch. Okay, she got down fine. Yeah. Anyways, back to programming. Part 2. Now, discard the corrupted lines. The remaining lines are incomplete. Incomplete lines don't have any incorrect characters. Instead, they're missing some closing characters at the end of the line. To repair the navigation subsystem, you just need to figure out the sequence of closing characters that complete all open chunks in the line. Okay. You need to figure out the sequence of closing characters. You can only use the closing characters from before, and you must add them in the correct order so that only legal pairs are formed and all chunks end up closed. In the example above, there are 5 incomplete lines, and they are completed by adding these things. Did you know that autocomplete tools also have contests? It's true. The score is determined by considering the completion string character by character. Start with a total score of 0, then for each character multiply the total score by 5, and then increase the total score by the point value given for the character in the following table. So the last completion string above would be scored as follows. Start with a 0, multiply by 5, add this, multiply by 5 again, add the score for this one, so on and so forth. And these are the scores for all of them combined. And autocomplete tools are an odd bunch. The winner is found by sorting all of the scores and then taking the middle score. There will always be an odd number of scores to consider. That's handy. In this example, the middle score is 288957 because there are the same number of scores smaller and larger than it. Find the completion string for each incomplete line, score the completion strings, and sort the scores. What is the middle score? Right. Okay. So, I probably should have expected this. So let's copy part 1 over to part 2, like we usually do. And then let's open up part 2 in my editor. Here we go. So, this poses an interesting question for us, because we want to mend our lines when we catch an incomplete line error. I guess we could just not catch these errors, or we could do this a completely different way, but we're doing it this way. So what would we have to do that? Because at the moment, we just return, like we raise, we raise an incomplete line error, which is not what we want to do. We want to fix the lines. So, and of course this is practical because now we are here. We aren't anywhere else. We only do this in one position. So basically what we now want to do, if we want to keep this sort of recursive parsing strategy that we have, this error here, instead of raising an error, it should return something that means that when this is called, if this raises an incomplete line error, then we know that, oh, we don't have any more characters. So I'm just going to add my end character and keep racing. That could work. So what we can add here is an incomplete line error, and then we add a completion string, which is a string. And then we do a new invalid line error, just a message, yeah, so just this one should not do anything. That should just be this new exception of invalid. Oh, not invalid. Incomplete line error. Then incomplete line error. Now we want to add a add completion to our error, which is a ref invalid line error. And that means that the error dot completion string dot add the character, completion character, the completion character is a character. I think I've written too much C#. All my identifiers are way too long, or longer than I would normally do them. What we could do, let us actually return an invalid line error reference. Then we say results is equal to error, and do that. Ooh, that didn't. Incomplete line error. Oh, incomplete line error. These should of course also be incomplete line error and incomplete line error. There we go. So now we can do this new incomplete line error with that. And then down here we can do a try. And then we can do a accept incomplete line error as E. And then we can raise E dot add completion our end character. So basically what this will do is that if we call this and we get an incomplete line error, that means that the position we passed in is too high. We catch this error, then we take the error and we add the character that is needed to complete our current bracket, and then we raise the exception again. So the next bracket that comes in here is also going to get this error. It's also going to add its end character. It's also going to raise the error. Of course, if we raise an invalid line error, we don't catch those. So that's just going to be immediately raised up and out of the recursion. So now when we get an incomplete line error, we can echo out. I mean, we're going to do something with it, but let's just echo out the error. What did I call this? Completion string. Completion string, and that should be the. I should just echo out the line as well. That should be the string that we need to complete a certain line. I'm going to change this back to be our input example, so that we have our example, the same example from before. And this actually didn't. It never raised a incomplete line error. That's not good. Complete by adding blah blah blah. And we do have that in our input example, I believe. Yep. Except this incomplete line error. Line e completion string. While the position is not equal to that. Oh. No. This last one should raise this error. I'm going to check if we ever raised this. Like if this error is ever raised. Oh, you know what? I was compiling. Yeah. someone said in the chat, run part 2. Yeah. That's on me. Okay, so let's remove these echo statements. Now this should echo out something neat. So here we go. This is completed by doing that. 2 of those, 1. Yeah, that looks correct. This line is completed by that string, which looks correct. This one is done by this one, which also looks correct. And this one looks pretty much like this one. And this last one is looking like this one. Great. Okay. So now we can, I mean, this is so neat. So I'm just going to do part 1 score and part 2 score. I'm just going to do them both. This is part, whoops. This is part 1 score and part 1 score and echo out part 2 score. So now we need to do our scoring function, which was this simple thing. Multiply the score by 5 and add according to this table. So score is equal to 0 for character in the completion string. Score times equals by 5 plus equals case of character, and the cases we want to do are these. I just had that in my clipboard from before, or from when I selected them. Linux has this really neat thing where when you select something, it's in a special kind of clipboard. Which is really neat because it means you can copy 2 things, which is cool. Oops. So record, I'm just recording. God damn it. No, I don't want to record you. There. Okay. I'm recording what in Vim is called the macro, not to be confused with what in Nim is called the macro. There we go. Since all of these were one character long, that was pretty easy. I'm trying to get better at writing those macros. This has to be wrapped in these. There we go. And of course, do part to score plus equals the score for this one. We can of course also now echo out the e dot completion string along with this and the score. I've written a bit of C# at work lately, and let me tell you, I really miss automatic stringification procedures. Oh my god. Having to call toString on everything and every single object just returning the name of the object instead of anything useful. So frustrating. Of course, that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to set breakpoints and inspect and do all of that stuff, but sometimes it's just easier to echo out stuff. Actually, Treeform, I think he maybe have written something about it. Treeform, great developer, lots of cool stuff. Currently developing a game. I think he might be doing something else as well. He at least used to work for Reddit doing data analysis stuff. I'm not sure what he's doing now. Yeah, so he also writes great articles and stuff. And some really nice libraries for Nim. Just like amazing libraries for Nim. If you haven't checked out his stuff, you totally should. But he has, it's probably buried way down somewhere. But he has a nice, maybe it's this one. No. This is actually pretty cool. It has a echoing library. No, he did something with like echo testing, which I thought was really fun. It's basically just you're echoing stuff out when you're debugging. Of course you are. So why not turn them into tests? So it was basically, yeah, print testing. Here we go. Yeah, you debug with print statements. Why don't also test with them? So basically, run the file with print statements, commit the output of that file, git diff the previous results, fix it if you don't like the diff, commit if you do. So just such a simple concept, like it echoes out some stuff, and you pipe that to a text file, and when you want to update, you do a git diff, or every time you run the test, you do a git diff. And if the diff looks good, you echo it, or you put it back. Otherwise, you have an error. It's just such a neat concept. I really like echo statements. Anyways, so this should be correct. Or of course, we did the scoring wrong. The summation, it shouldn't be a sum. But these. 2 are bigger and 2 are smaller, and this is the middle, which looks pretty close to what we had. Yeah. So that's probably correct. we of course need to store our scores. So we're gonna do this, and we are gonna just add our score in there, and then we're gonna sort this and grab out part 2 score. Div by 2 plus 1. I guess that would be our center. Of course, for that we need secutils. And this is now called scores because there are multiple ones. So now we have a dependency on secutils. Secutils is built in standard. Oh no, it's not in secutils. It's in algorithm. I got a notification. Juan Carlo is hosting me. Thanks for hosting me. Right. Undeclared identifier. Oh, this has to be scores. And oh, of course, the length of this. Nope, not plus 1. Just divide by 2. There we go. So that is our center. And that was, of course, the number that we expected to get, which is the output of this thing. So now, if we remove this, just so we don't get a whole lot of output, we can run it on our complete input. And there we go. This should be our correct answer. Fingers crossed. Hooray! So we got, that's the right answer. You're 1 gold star closer to finding the snake keys. So we have completed day 10. We are closer than ever to getting the snake keys. Ooh, something red is going on up here. Wonder what that is. I mean, this here is lava. I guess maybe from the smoke thing. Yeah, here we're just finding the route out. So probably now we have found that the route goes this way. We're on our way out of the cave. But we're still going deeper to find the key, probably down here. Right. So yeah, that was it's an interesting one. Lots of ways you can do this sort of stuff. I wanted to do some recursion. Basically, we did recursion in the last one. I thought it would be a nice match for this as well. And of course, showing off exceptions, how we can put stuff in exceptions, how you can raise them and catch them. Of course, some tricks with recursion and returning out of recursions and all of that neat stuff. This isn't the most efficient thing. Basically, match bracket, like we could have made this into a return a pair of things instead of like kicking this exception up. I'm not sure how efficient exceptions are in them, but this might be quite inefficient. I mean, our code runs fast. It's not bad. If you do a release mode of the part 2 build and run this just through time, you can see it runs in like, what is this, a millisecond? Yeah, that would be a millisecond. So I mean, it runs plenty fast for this stuff, but I don't know. Yeah. One thing that you might find weird, I call these error. They're an object of defect, but we raise exceptions. So what is that about? Nim is a bit different when it comes to exceptions from many other languages. We have, so this is the part on exception handling. I guess this actually might show the, oh yeah, this is actually, is this new in the manual? I wrote an article about this. I didn't know this was actually in here. I think that might have been added later. So yeah, anyways, exceptions are blocks, the same as so many other things are in them. So here, for example, we can parse this integer. If it throws an exception, we can return something. Finallys are run even, like if it's true or it throws an exception. So this can't return a value. Yeah, so the type of the finally branch always has to be void. But you can do this to add sort of like default return values, which are pretty neat. Oh yeah, here it shows SE. This should be in the tutorial as well. This was the old way of doing it. Yeah, you can cast, so get current exception always returns an exception. So you have to sort of cast that into the type that you're accepting. This new syntax is just way more succinct. Right. Yeah, so you can also get get just the exception message. All exceptions have to have a message. This is the stuff I went through. Defer, we don't need to look at that. But I want to show, right, so just stop this highlighting. The exception tree is defined in system module. That was a bad idea. Every exception inherits from system exception. Exceptions that indicate programming bugs inherit from system defect, which is a subtype of exception, and are strictly speaking not catchable. Oh, as it can also be mapped to an operation that terminates the whole process. So, never mind this. These should be exceptions. As I said, I don't really use exceptions that much. Never for more precise type. Okay, so apparently we're supposed to inherit from catchable error. This was reworked at some point, and I just can never remember. Yeah. So programming bugs inherit from system defect. That would be stuff like, yeah, it's for panics on. So defects are basically stuff that is like hard error. Like this you can't recover from this. Like you're divided by 0 or stuff like that. They basically just exist to get a nice stack trace. I believe. So if you do -- panics on, these will get turned into to a panic that just shuts your whole program down. So if we had kept it like this, no, like this, and if we now compile with panics on, running our program now, just, whoops, it just throws an error. Like, you can't catch these. And this, like, when this hits here, like when it triggers, this is just turned into echo out echo it out and just stop. Just can't go any further. But without panics on, we can catch our exceptions and our program can run. So that's why you shouldn't use defect. You should use catchable error. And this is why we call them errors in them and not exceptions. So if I now compile this, it runs. If I compile this with panics on, it still runs. Because these are now not turned into panics. But if we divide it by null, for example, that would be a panic. Right. Exceptions that indicate any other runtime error that can be caught inherit from system catchable error, which is also a subtype of exceptions. So they're all exceptions and can be thrown and caught and all of that stuff. You shouldn't catch defects. You can, but you shouldn't. And we should be throwing catchable errors. If you go to the system module, there is an exception. Like, it says an exception tree. It's more of just like a list of exceptions. I really feel like we should have like an actual tree structure. And some of these, I mean, this is fine. End of file error. exec.io, execute. Okay, maybe these have been reworked. Sure. Yeah, so before they were named error, now they're named defect. So yeah, as you can see, this is not the greatest. Yeah, so float div by 0 defect, float an exact defect, so a lot of defects. And the errors are, yeah, so that one's deprecated, that one's deprecated. Do we have any actual ones? IO error, for example. So an IO error is a catchable error. That is like, we didn't do something wrong, just something wrong happened, and we might want to react to that. Key error. Raised if a key cannot, and this is what annoys me. Raised if a key cannot be found in a table. What if I define my own data structure, which isn't a table? Am I supposed to create a new exception for that? Can't I just reuse key error? Yeah, sets or string tabs. These are not, string tabs is a table, I guess. But sets isn't a table. So the wording of these should be better. Some of them at least. Yeah, nil access. Yeah, we have successfully solved both tasks for day 10. This code again will be uploaded to GitHub. My GitHub is there. PMunch/AoC 2021. Here you can find all the days and a link to the YouTube playlist of all the videos of these recordings. I believe these recordings are also available on Twitch. If you subscribe to Twitch, you will be notified when I put up a new video. Same, I guess, if you subscribe to me on YouTube, but you might have to hit the bell or whatever. I don't know how that works. If you want to get the notifications. Yeah. And apparently if I get 2 more followers, I can become a Twitch affiliate, which I have no idea what does, but I want to find out. So 2 more people and I can figure out what that does. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was everything for today. We have successfully written. I think this was actually a pretty good solution. It runs pretty quick. It's pretty clean. I mean, it's not bad. Like, this is the bulk of the logic. I mean, I guess the scoring is logic as well. But yeah, it's pretty happy with this actually. It's pretty good one. And it shows off some language features, even though I've admitted I don't really use them that much. So yeah, that's it for me for today. Hope you're still having a nice Advent. Hope you're gonna be having a nice Christmas when that rolls around. Hope you're enjoying Advent of Code. I hope you're enjoying this stream. And yeah, I just hope you're enjoying in general. Ignore all the mess in the background, by the way. Packing in Christmas gifts and hanging up some decorations. I actually have, I'm not sure if you can see that, I put up the worst light show. This is going to be nauseating for you guys. Put up the worst light show. I made that portal like a couple of years ago. It's just the worst kind of Christmas decoration, and I love it. Yeah, so have a good Advent, and if you have NIM questions, by the way, we have the NIM forum, of course, which you can find a lot of stuff. Be aware of AoC 2021 spoilers. I really like that people mention this in the title. This is very good for people like me who open these without having looked into the problem beforehand. So please tag your topics with AoC spoiler if you create them. Yeah, the stove behind me, it's pretty good. Now the fire is out because it's way too warm in here. But yeah, it's really nice having a stove, especially right now because the price of electricity is quite high here at the moment. That's really nice to have a stove. But yeah, if you go to, oh yeah, it's here. If you scroll down, you can find the community part, which also has its own page, but it's not up here for some reason, which is dumb. I think we should replace forum with community and just have a big link to the forum or something. Yeah, you can join through IRC, you can join through Discord, or Gitter. I think that is still up. You can join the Matrix chat room. All of these are linked together. You can also, I'm not sure if that is true. You can also join the Telegram room by going there. The Telegram room is a bit different than the other rooms. Right, yeah. So if you have NIM questions while you're doing this, you can head over to any of the live chats. People there are typically super helpful. Or you can go to the forum. Oh, I don't have this on screen. Sorry. So yeah, you have the community tab. Should probably be up here. Chat rooms. All of these are linked together, so you can join through RC, Discord, Gitter, Matrix, Telegram. Telegram is not linked to the other ones. We have the forum. Really nice when people tag with AoC spoilers. That makes it easier for people like me to not click on stuff. There's also like Twitter and Reddit, Stack Overflow. Yeah. This map is not accurate. I'm not sure where this pulls data from. I guess there. Right. This was added 4 years ago, and no one has added their name. Not even the person who made this. This should probably be removed from the README. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, I also think the map project is abandoned. I don't think it was ever... I mean, it was a good idea. I've never sort of scrolled that far down on the page. I haven't seen this. I haven't... Like, it was created 4 years ago. I was active in the NIM community 4 years ago. But I didn't catch this. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to put this on GitHub. You will find the videos in the YouTube channel. Yeah, have a good one.